Hello and welcome to Stateside here on Politics Social. I'm Graham Hughes and I'm joined tonight by Mikey Famine over in Chicago, Illinois. How you doing, Mikey? You all right?
I'm frozen.
What? You're not? You're
Yay.
moving for me.
It's freezing cold here.
Oh,
We
right.
have
Sorry. I thought we were having internet
winter
problems.
winter is here, Jon Snow.
Do you want to throw some of that coldness towards LA? They could do with it right now.
They don't want this. I
Okay.
have I have a few friends that are from LA and then they moved to Chicago for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. Never got used to it. Bitched every winter, hated it. Would leave the state frequently just to get away from the crib.
I,
Like
I
we're
thought you were
in
going to say they were
January
here
now.
for 5 or 6 days and they were like, fuck this.
No, they moved. They lived here, and then they were like, "Dude, I cannot wait to move back to LA. Like this shit sucks. How do you all just live with this every?" I'm like, because you just kind of get used to the abuse after a while,
I don't know. What's
you
that?
know?
What's that? The flag of?
Chicago.
Is that the flag of Chicago? Chicago's got
Yeah,
its own flag.
of course it
Cool.
does.
That's quite cool.
We have
Big,
money. We can buy flags.
big shout out to the Cheese Factor and Billy and Sarah, Mikey Famine. Don't know who that is. In the
That's me.
chat, we've got Kieran Crossing in there as well. We've got Richard Grumpy Git. If you'd like to join them in the chat, all you need to do is just hit the magic subscribe button and wait
It's
for 30
free today.
seconds.
It's free today. Did you tell him that,
It's
Graham?
free to hit the subscribe button. You don't have to pay
Just today.
nothing. Just for the
Just
day.
today.
Special.
Tomorrow it's
Half
double.
price. Tomorrow it's double. First of all, we're going to talk about the fires and particularly the
Yes.
politicization, because I want to say this is going to be the beginning of it, isn't it? Like whenever
No.
there's a disaster, whenever there's been a disaster under Biden, he's just gone, yeah, you go. What you need? Here's the money. Take it. Do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Whereas Trump's going to be like, oh, we can make a deal. I tell you what, if you want this money, you have to do something for me, like he did with
Tell me I'm pretty.
Vladimir Zelensky.
Tell me I'm pretty, or I'm not giving you any money. Tell me I'm pretty.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. That's what he did to well, with
Zelensky.
Zelensky. The Congress had like passed the bill to say give him the money, and he called him up
Yes.
and said, "I want you to get me some dirt on Hunter Biden, and I'll give you the money that I have to by law give you."
Right. Because they're
So,
an ally.
so it's going to be a constant source of stress for these states, especially the dickhead states who voted for this clown. Whenever an actual disaster happens, and they're like, "Oh shit, we need some federal funding." But here's the thing:
Yeah.
don't states like Illinois and California and New York, don't they pay more than their fair share in taxes?
No, we pay our fair share. We just don't beg the federal government for disaster relief every 5 minutes, like some of the southern states do. Like they will continually talk about how Washington, D.C. is it's a swamp full of gators, they'll say, and it's full of corrupt politicians. And also, we got hit by another hurricane. Can we please have some more money, please? Thank you. Okay, we had some flooding. Can we please have some more money, please? Thank you. Oh, we just got flooded again, and I know we were supposed to fix the flood last time, but we don't bring in any tax revenue because we're tax havens for rich people. So, our poor, toothless masses cannot bring in the property tax to keep our schools together,
Yep.
to, keep our infrastructure together. They don't generate anything. The economy of California is the fifth largest on Earth.
Yep.
They don't need anybody's money. They need
If
bodies, you know
if
what I
it
mean?
was a
But they don't
country.
need cash. Cash isn't the problem.
So here's the question: is Trump going to make the federal government just redundant? Because what's he going to do if he's going to get rid of the Atomic Agency? He's going to get rid of the Park Service. He's going to get rid of the DOJ. He's going to get rid of the Education
Mhm.
Department. Like,
My question is, if you get rid of all that, who's going to listen to you?
well, the Trump voters, I
They
guess.
don't
What do you
have
mean?
any power.
Well,
You need Congress to make a new department. So go ahead and get rid of everything because then the few people that are left have no obligation to do what you tell them to do.
Well,
You fired their boss.
I think they're
No one,
not.
it's not, he's not like a CEO who can just like walk onto the plant floor and be like, all right, then let me see that hammer. That's not a good hammer. Like, he can't do that. People can just lock the door and not talk to him. Like, no one is under this obligation to just be beholden to the king of the states. We don't have a fucking king, if everybody hasn't realized it yet. We're pretty unruly. And it's only through this exhaustive election process that we get any work done. He's decided to subvert that. He's decided that the state agencies don't need anything and they should just, pledge fealty to him.
Yes.
Okay, but I mean, if a little kid wants to eat Cheerios and ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, it doesn't take but a couple days, maybe a few hours before they realize how stupid they are. He can keep going on about how he's going to ice cream and Frosted Flakes his way to victory and how everyone's going to listen to him and everything's going to be great. And it doesn't work the way he thinks it does. And it doesn't work the way that his supporters think it does. So they can keep trying to do something that doesn't work. But if I keep trying to like if I tried to rob you right now, Graham, give me $1 million. You can't do it.
Have the $1 million. But
first of all, you wouldn't want to do it, so I'd have to threaten you in some sort of way to even want to listen to my command. But then you'd also have to have the money. We don't have any money, and we're not doing what you tell us to do. So now what are we gonna do?
Well, I don't think he's concerned about getting you to do what he wants you to do. I think he's just concerned about stealing as much money as he can and staying in power for as long as he can. But if you look at January the 6th as a dry run, why is he not going to do that again? Like, what's stopping him from doing that again once he's president? Congress does something he doesn't like.
What? Okay, here we go. We're starting early here, everybody.
Yeah. What happens?
How? If it's January, like if he's getting elected, why would there be a January 6th?
Because Congress isn't doing what he wants them to do. So he sends a mob in, tells the National Guard to wait.
But it's the 13th,
kill as many people as possible.
So you're saying a riot. And that's what you mean by January 6th? Okay.
January 6th, a paramilitary mob of Trump supporters rampaged through your Parliament building. And they were only not successful because, the people in the Parliament building fought back, I guess, and ran away when necessary.
They hid, yeah.
If half the...
One brave black cop led them on a wild goose chase. They kept chasing him. And he kept looping them around in the corners. I mean, that gave the senators and the House people enough time to get underground into the bunkers.
Decent Republicans left. I think they're all a bunch of psychopaths, and I could see them locking
the
doors
bitches
and letting the mob in to massacre all the Democrats. And right, we're in charge now of everything. Like, who's going to stop them? Who's this higher authority that's going to swoop in and save the day?
This is America, Graham. If you don't think half of those House members aren't packing, you're a fool.
Fine, there'll still be a massacre. I mean, there's going to be more mobsters. How many elected?
I see your January 6th, and I raise you any other evidence. Because the only evidence I see is a bunch of white nationalists marching around, putting on their little riot shields and their khaki pants, and they're doing their little drills and stuff like that. The January 6th you keep referring to is a nebulous phenomenon that happened. And if you thought that was like this organized thing that's just going to be able to be like reconstituted,
if you think that can be reconstituted, the same thing in Germany.
Well, I mean, do you think Trump and Hitler are the same level of intellect?
No.
Do you think the Proud Boys are on the same level of intellect?
That matters.
I think it does matter.
Why? I mean, you can try and, drill some sense into Donald Trump. It's not going to work.
Congress
don't do what he wants them to do. He has the means, the motive, and the opportunity to kill everyone that disagrees with him. And if you see...
Sure, you're 100% right, because I can see that you're not going to get off of this fantasy, which you can't admit is a fantasy. It hasn't happened yet.
No, January the 6th has happened.
He didn't murder thousands of people. He hasn't.
It's not happened in this country.
Okay,
ever.
You're right. How many Congress people died on January 6th? You're right. I'll just go with your logic here. How many died on January 6th?
None. It was a failed coup.
Oh.
It failed.
Oh, so they can't coup.
But nearly every single coup in history has had a failed coup before the actual real coup that was successful.
How many?
Hundreds around the world.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, how many failures until they get a successful coup?
Sometimes one, sometimes five, sometimes 20.
Because I think it's a huge distraction to talk about January 6th as if it's a physical threat to anybody when the economic threat is way more dire and way more in our face. Like, it's way more dangerous for him to waste time and money and in an election to go after Panama, to go after Greenland, to piss off Mexico, to piss off Canada, to like all of that stuff is far more damaging than any January 6th. January 6th was abhorrent because the Democrats had every right to call the National Guard and to lay waste to all of them. But they didn't.
They couldn't, could they?
Yes, that you don't listen to the words I say when I say them to your face. They had every right to send in the military and mow those people down.
But
they chose not to.
I thought it was the executive who decided on the National Guard.
No, who's in charge of the security at the Capitol?
I guess the Capitol Police.
Speaker of the House. So Nancy Pelosi said, I don't want any security at the Capitol for January 6th because the optics look bad and I want to be, this prissy little Democrat who never does anything wrong. That's why January 6th happened. Under any
so
other
Nancy Pelosi's fault.
Yes, 100%. It is her fault for not protecting the Capitol. Yes, it's her fault.
Okay.
Trump is an
Who's
idiot.
the speaker now?
Oh, MAGA Mike, of course.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, so like if she would have actually put the troops on the fucking steps like she was supposed to, go back in the Wayback Machine, go look at pictures of the Capitol steps during the Black Lives Matter riots or marches and stuff like that during the summer, and they had like maybe 10 steps down.
So they got that far without.
Listen before you interrupt. There was about 10 steps down from the front like door thingies, the multiple doors. There was like a line of troops with AR-15s and their whole camouflage shit. And then everybody just kind of walked past the Capitol. She could have did that on January 6th. She chose not to have them there because she didn't want the optics of this like, oh, it's not going to be a big deal. It's going to be fine. Everybody relax. And it wasn't fine. And it wasn't relaxed. And while she was not asking for help, asshole is down the street saying, go down there. They got no security. Like, she is stupid and a waste of time and space.
But you're now saying that there's no chance whatsoever of that happening again when Trump is in control of the executive.
They rioted because they thought he's lost the election.
Yeah.
If he's already in office, then what are they rioting, dude?
What's going to stop Trump doing what he wants to do in his second term? Congress. So if he sends his mob into Congress, who's going to stop him? And you're saying, oh, it's all Nancy Pelosi's fault because she didn't put guards on the steps. Well, I'll say to you, well, if there is another one and it's successful, then it's your fault for calling me a fantasist for saying that it could happen.
So if you want to compare separate events, you have to use the times that they are in, right? If she would have had the National Guard on the steps, do you think that they would have tried to get past the National Guard with guns?
It was unsuccessful anyway, so no. But
You're not,
it was unsuccessful anyway. This time there won't be National Guard there. There definitely won't be a National Guard. Because Nancy Pelosi's, she may have learned from her mistakes, but it doesn't matter because she's not important anymore in the scheme of things. She's not going to be the person making that decision. It's going to be Mike Johnson.
So is that going on our dry erase board of predictions from Graham? Is that there's going to be an attack on legislators in Washington, D.C.?
I can see another coup attempt happening because this has happened before in history in other countries where they've tried a few times just to see what it's like. How far can we get? And they got pretty fucking far in that particular coup attempt. So they'll do it again. If Congress gets in the way, if the legislature gets in the way of the executive, he'll just send his equivalent of the SS. Okay, so the SS weren't a part of a German state. They were Nazi paramilitaries. The same as the Proud Boys or the Oath Keepers.
And where are they at?
They're all going to get out of jail, aren't they? Trump's going to release them all.
Most of them are out already. Yeah. The only one that's still in there is pretty much the guy who was like beating the shit out of a cop with a billy club, like on camera, and the organizer. I'm not a cop. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, but he's going to get out. and there's thousands of
Graham,
them, and
Graham,
there's only
Graham.
200 odd
So Graham,
Democrats.
you have this thing where you try to like, oh, but the safety of these people that you don't care about. I don't fucking care about those people. I care about citizens. I care about the general well-being of the country. And you're like, but what about these people? What if they get taken over? What if there's this? What if there's that? He has to try it, dude. And by try it, I mean
He
not
already
in
has
D
tried it. That was my
and
point.
not
And he
I'm
got
not
really
done with this.
far.
I'm not done with the sentence. And not just try it in DC with Nancy Pelosi's little room of people literally trapped in there. Try it out here in the real world, out in the wide open.
He's not going to.
Try,
Why would he do that?
well, then
There's
what?
no
Then why the
profit
fuck
in
do
that.
I care? Then what does it do? It doesn't
So you
affect
don't
me
care
like that.
if he mounts another coup
I don't care that
against
you
your
have
parliament.
I don't care that you have a theory that something will happen that isn't proved to have happened. That's where it is.
That's the whole
That's
point
where
of
it is.
having a theory of what might happen in the future, so you're prepared for it. You just made fun of Nancy Pelosi for not predicting that January the 6th would happen and saying, "Oh no,
Making
it'll be
fun
fine, everyone will be,"
and
and it
if I
wasn't
can borrow
fine. It was
if
awful.
I can borrow a phrase from James O'Brien, it's just counting, mate. Like she did not put the people there that she did for the black people. When the
Yes.
black people
Okay,
were
okay.
marching, she put the people there, but she
I
didn't
think
want
you're
to
talking
do it
about something
because
different to what I'm talking about. I'm not
no,
talking about
you're moving
what
all
should have
over the place,
happened
and
in
I'm
the
trying to say
past.
so.
I'm saying, based on what happened in the past, this is what could happen. My question to you isn't about Nancy Pelosi. It's saying what.
no, but
And
that's
I don't.
hold on. I found
Mikey,
the thread. I
Mikey,
found the thread. I found the thread.
If
I found it.
if you don't care about the people who might die, that's not nothing to do with what my question is. My question is, what is there in the American setup, the American Constitution, the American democracy that would stop a rampaging mob of paramilitaries who turn up to Capitol Hill, armed to the teeth, and kill all the police officers in the way, and then kill all the Democrats and all the rhinos?
Nothing, Graham. Nothing could
Trump's
stop them. The earth is theirs, Graham. You're right. Like I get that you're
I'm
trying to
saying
be
the earth is theirs. I'm saying
that's what you're saying. You're
no,
saying
I'm
that they've
asking
already
a question,
conquered
Mikey.
the planet.
The question is,
no, you're not asking a question
tell me
because it's more of a
what's there to
statement
stop
with a
them?
question mark at the end of it because you're not listening to what I'm telling you. You're just responding to what the clip is, and that I want you to get out of the
I
whole
am responding
mess.
to what you
because
were telling me because I mentioned
no, you're not
that you
listening to
didn't
me
care,
because you keep
which you
cutting me off.
told me.
You keep cutting me off, and you're not getting
Well,
the
answer the
full
question then.
You have to let me answer it the way I want to answer it. Because if you're not patient enough to let me finish the sentence,
Okay.
then you're never going to understand what I'm trying to actually get across. Is that fair?
Go on.
Okay.
Tell me.
So the thing about January 6th is, I know you call it a dry run. Those people believed that the election was stolen, correct?
No.
And Trump lied to them and told them that it was stolen. And that they
I
need to
think
go
some
in there
of
and do
them
that.
knew that it wasn't stolen. They're just huge fans of Donald Trump, and he's a cult leader, and they'll do anything he says. But I think we're getting off the question. This isn't the question I asked, Mikey. I'm asking you.
I can't answer the question because you have already interrupted. I asked you one question to use the Socratic method to.
But every time I've asked this question 3 times, you've gone back to January the 6th. I don't give a shit about January the 6th.
Because you keep conflating things.
No,
you
I'm
keep
asking you in the
conflating
future.
No,
what's to
you're
stop that happening
not.
again?
Because he won the election, dumbass. You're not listening. I'm trying to tell you, but you won't let me say it. You have to let me say it.
Let me put it a different way then. If it does happen, for whatever reason, yeah?
Okay.
What is there in the American system to stop it?
Nothing, Graham. Nothing's there to stop them. This is what you want me to say, and you won't.
No, I want to know the answer. If the answer's nothing, then fair enough.
I can't answer you. You won't let me talk. You are literally talking over me, and every time I take a sip of air, you jump in again and ask the original question. Stop doing that. I'm on the same team as you. Let's talk about this.
Answer the question then.
I'm answering it if you stop interrupting. The difference from January 6th and what you're proposing is that is a vast difference than, hey, I voted and these numbers do look wrong. And then there was a whole misinformation campaign that got all these people. And then there was this whole organization piece. The organization piece for all these paramilitary groups has been dismantled. The leaders have been jailed. Everybody's been scattered to the 4 winds. And right now they are trying to reconstitute themselves. All of the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, the Boogaloo Boys. What's the other guys out west? And then there's like the neo-Nazis that are in Kentucky right now and Tennessee. Like they all had to just like scatter to the four winds because they didn't know what was going to happen to them. Like this whole like white nationalist, like paramilitary group, that is something that has always been in America. Always. Always. So for you to bring it up like it's a new thing, and what are you going to do with it? They're already here, right?
Okay.
Like
I still don't think you're answering the question that I'm asking.
no, but what I'm saying is that this is part of the day to day over here, right? Like those groups are allowed to exist over here.
That's not it's not what the question I'm asking at all. Like I'm asking you the question, what is there? Like
I said nothing, and the earth is theirs, and you don't want an answer. I get it. Okay.
No, you're not answering my question. You're answering a different question. I'm not asking like what would who
nothing. I said
give
nothing.
me a list of all the people that would be involved in this thing if it happened. I'm saying if it does happen, you say they've been scattered to the four winds. The leader of that gang, the leader of that group of men, mostly men who stormed your parliamentary building just 4 years ago, is now going to be the president. And this time round, he's been told by the Supreme Court that's in his pocket that he is above the law. So, I mean, but I think we get off the point here. But my point is, if it does happen, nothing to do with January the 6th, okay? Let's pretend whatever, that happened and it was completely separate. But if there is a situation in which Trump wants to do something and he is stopped from doing it by Congress, and he sends a mob of his lunatics, and he only needs 1,000 of them, it's not very many, in the greater scheme of things, armed to the teeth into Congress to go and kill all the people who are standing against him. My question was, what's there to stop them?
It's legal, Graham. It's legal. We should just let it happen. It's legal. Next question.
It wouldn't be legal for the people doing it, but he can pardon them.
No, yes, it is. Yeah, so it's essentially legal. So It doesn't matter.
That's really disturbing.
No, it's great. It's great. What else are we talking about? Because I love you to pieces, but like your acceptance of American nuance is like it's just not there. Like
I don't think you guys have ever had to live under a dictatorship, or I think that there's
we are our own dictators.
View of how things go, and that America always saves the day at the end, and I can't see this. I can't see this song ending well, Mikey.
You say like we don't fight dictators. Where are a quarter of the imprisoned people on the planet located?
In America.
Well, okay. So yeah, we know about dictators, and like you're not in America thinking about it as an American. So what you have to remember, and I keep bringing up January 6th, Nancy Pelosi and all that stuff, is they did that because he was able to stoke their rage because they felt like they had been robbed. If he wins the House, he has the Senate, he has the presidency, he has a Supreme Court, who exactly are they going in there to get mad at?
They have the majority blocking in their agenda.
They can't block it.
Oh, and the rhinos.
That's what I'm
saying. The three holdouts in the Republican
Party. It's the Republicans. So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. So because the four Republicans don't vote on a thing, they're going to kill all the Democrats. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Well, neither did January the 6th. It couldn't have worked. Even if they killed Mike Pence, the election still went ahead.
It's not logical. So for you to make me explain this in logical fashion is kind of unfair, but it's all good. It's whatever.
I didn't say it would make sense. I said,
you know what I mean?
There is a chance that Trump, if feeling frustrated, he can whip. The idea that he can't whip up his lunatics again is that for me is just I can't understand. I can't get my head around that. Like, what's going to stop him from doing that? What's going to stop him doing a speech where he says, on the Capitol Hill in the middle of summer when it's nice and warm, not the middle of winter, and he says, basically, those bastards down there won't let me do this thing that I really need to do to save everyone's lives from the Jewish space lasers and the bloodborne diseases from China, whatever it is.
Do you think they're like still listening to him?
Yes. They just vote 77 million people who know he's a rapist just voted for him to be the most powerful person in the world. And I kind of get this idea that you're
because he's a rapist or because they're selfish? and they don't give a shit about
they didn't
anybody
vote him
else.
for him because he was a rapist, but it wasn't a deal breaker, and that is terrifying.
So here's you not answering a question. Did they do it out of self-interest or out of love for him?
Some did it out of self-interest, some did it out of love for him, some did it a bit of both.
What percentage would you give each three of those categories?
So
how much for love? How much would you say for like the love of the cult?
Okay, I'd say 0.0001% of them did it out of love for Donald Trump, but that was all you would need to go into Congress, armed to the teeth, to go and murder everyone who's in there.
See, you just couldn't go through with answering the question. You had this twisted so you could put your 0.1. Like what I'm saying.
I said I don't know the answer to the actual statistic.
We're gesticulating here.
We're gesticulating. Who knows the darkness in the hearts of men?
But the reason he won the election was that a lot of people didn't really care for what the Democrats were offering, and he promised cheap shit. So if cheap shit is their motivator, how is he going to, hey, everybody drive, all the way across the country and come over here and fight for me, all right? And they're gonna be like,
just to flip that same.
Did you get that gas lowered yet?
Mikey, just to flip that same argument on its head. What's the percentage of people who voted for him because they wanted cheaper eggs? I don't think they did.
How's that working out?
I don't think they did. It's going back to this whole thing. Like one day they'll wake up and see all the error of their ways. They won't. They're in a cult.
Some of them are, and then the rest of them will just
It only takes a small fraction of them to be that.
I'm sorry, Graham. I'm just not not afraid of white people, and I'm not afraid of their threats, and I'm not afraid of their threats of violence. Plenty of people were armed on January 6th. They could have done exactly what you proposed. There was plenty of armed people there, and they didn't because they're cowards and they're soft.
I don't think they got hold of anyone that they wanted to take out, did they? Because
they had guns. They could have. They had
I don't know, Marjorie Taylor Greene locking the doors. The people got out to the tunnels, didn't they? Hang on, we've had a load of super chats while we've been arguing.
Oh, okay.
Number 3, thank you very much. I think a civil war is on the way. That's the number 3. And then number 3 again, thank you very much for the super chat again. The lies and liars still continue. I hope you're not talking about us, number 3.
Probably.
And then Ken M says, tell our kid to calm down. We don't want to debate. Okay. So we've got to agree on everything. Thanks very much, Ken. I agree that super chat's great. So if you don't want us to
I also agree.
Debate, then we need more super chats. Otherwise, we're just going to keep arguing on that.
And I just want to put a little spotlight on the Trump voter for a second. They're not parading around the streets like, yeah, fuck you, we won. They're all like, oh shit.
Yeah, Mikey, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. I think the vast majority of them are probably going to wake up one day and think, oh.
They don't have to confess. They don't have to confess.
The problem is,
confess that they were wrong.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I
don't think it's going to happen for a very long time. And in the meantime, Trump can get up to pretty much anything his heart desires. And he is the filthiest, most disgusting human being on the planet. And the thing is, it's like, you can say, well, I don't care about the people in Congress. They can all fuck off and die because I don't like any of them. But that will destroy the economy of the world, which means that kids in my country will starve to death as a result as any kind of economic shock.
So again, this hyper focus on DC is completely irrelevant because his trade policies, and if he tariffs more people that influence your trade and your economy, it's way worse than if there was an attack on DC. Yeah, but I don't feel like I don't. Okay,
a tariff is a obstacle, yeah, and it will put prices up everywhere, and everyone in the world's going to hate Donald Trump even more than they already do. Yeah, I do get that. But an actual coup, a military-style takeover of the American government, you're going to have countries not just, paying back tariffs or whatever, they'll be putting sanctions on America. And that's going to just fuck the world economy because America's obviously the biggest economy by a mile. And
how the hell do you think you defeat villains, dude? This is the cost of defeating villains. Like, this is the price. We have to pay it. Like, that's what it costs.
What a shit time to be alive, eh? Why do I have to do that?
Look, these are the freaking cards we're dealt.
Didn't vote for him.
I don't get to complain about the cards. I don't get to complain about the dealer. I can only play my hand. If he wants to try to get these y'all Qaeda to try to come after everybody and go for it, big boy.
Yeah.
You feeling froggy? I mean, this ain't Louisiana. This ain't Mississippi. Come on,
But
come on.
I think that the 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 outlook for America and therefore the Western world is pretty fucking dire at the moment. And I do feel like one of the issues that the left or the centrists or whatever you want to call them suffer is they really do have a failure of imagination. And you have people who will say, this isn't going to happen, this isn't going to happen, this isn't going to happen. We had this with Putin invading Ukraine. You know, he's never going to do it. He's not going to invade Ukraine. It's too
Oh,
big.
I knew he was going to
It's
invade.
the size of Western Europe. He's never going to. And we had it again last year with Trump. He's never going to win. Everyone hates him. He's a gobshite. He's a crook. He's a rapist. He's never going to win. And I think they get caught
And then the
out
Democrats
time
ran,
and time again.
and then the Democrats ran the worst campaign in the history of Democratic Party.
Yep.
Kicked off by Joe Biden and his refusal to get his old crusty ass off the throne.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree, but you know, I think there is an element, especially on the.
So here's a better question: why didn't they take over after Biden won? If he had the crazies, he had them all hopped up on adrenaline. Like, why didn't Trump have Biden removed and then he just become king then? Why didn't he do it then?
Well, he couldn't, could he? Because he wasn't above the
Why
law
not?
then.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't. They hadn't declared.
They just said
that anything that he thinks of is wonderful and awesome and legal, which is what they've declared now. The Supreme Court declared that last year. They said
he never gets in trouble anyway. So why wouldn't you just do it?
Yeah, but he
wasn't
didn't know
supposed to
that
talk
he could
about
get away with it. In fact,
He
I don't
wasn't
think
supposed to talk about E. Jean Carroll either, but he did that anyway.
He didn't really expect to get in 2016, and when he did get in, you know, he didn't really know what to do. He just, you know, and the people around him didn't know what to do, and that's why he went through so many staff so quickly. This time they're prepared.
Well,
that's going to make your life a fucking misery. They're going to make, you know, any woman's life a misery, any gay person's life a misery, any trans person's life a misery.
He's gonna. So this is the difference between like my take on politics and then a lot of other people.
Yeah.
He has to break what I have. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like in Illinois, in my county, in my city, like there are ways to protect yourself from federal policies locally and then countywide and statewide. You can do that.
Yeah.
And Illinois and a couple of other states in the Midwest have been quote unquote Trump proofing their states.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to deal with all that bullshit.
Yeah.
So the trade stuff and the tariffs and stuff like that, like dude, this Canada thing, he better calm his little happy ass down real quick.
Yes.
Because the parts for Fords and stuff like that are made in Mexico, like the screws, nuts and bolts, fasteners, and all that stuff. Yeah. The steel comes from Canada, and then it's manufactured and put together in Michigan, in Detroit. Keep fucking with the steel, and you're gonna have I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of auto workers who are like, "Hey, dude, we were allowed to make one car today. Like, can you chill out with the damn with the tariffs and the steel? Because like all of the fleet vehicles are Ford."
Well,
so like
I was gonna come on to this. What they call it, the Madman principle or something. This idea that he just says crazy shit in order to do a deal. This is his whole thing, isn't it? Let's do a deal. So we had famously the first time he was impeached is because he called up Zelensky and said, "Let's, you know, I owe you this stuff. Congress has said that I have to give you this stuff, but I'm not going to give you this stuff until you do something for me. I want something. I want to make a deal. I want to make a deal."
Did they end up getting the stuff?
Yes.
But he's the ruler of the earth, Graham. How could that happen?
I never said he was the ruler of the earth.
But you talk about him as if he has this power, and that's why I challenge your language.
Mikey, I never said that he could take over the planet. I never said he had a spaceship. I never said he had a gold cloak. I said he could send a mob of people, again, for the second time, into Congress to kill everyone in Congress that he doesn't like. My question was, who's going to stop him? Like, what is it? What stands in the way of him doing that? And you were talking about some other stuff, and I didn't get a satisfactory answer to that question. I think we got a little bit sidetracked, but
No,
think
there's no Capitol Police. There's no DC police. There's no police ever anywhere in the country, especially not in Washington, DC. So you're right. Like, I can't understand
there's,
why you just jump over such
there's
obvious
police in
thing.
all
Like, there's a
countries that
police.
have coups. It's not like the only countries that have coups are the ones without police officers.
Okay. So
I mean,
there's no
but
hope.
you're doing
Everyone.
the argument. What is it? Adam just taking it to the absurd degree and going, well, you think that he can walk on
Well, you
water
just
and fly
act.
and spit fire out of his mouth. And I'm like, I
But
never
that's
said
how you
any
talk
of
about.
that.
But that's how you talk about him. What stops him from sending people in to kill everybody in Congress?
Yes,
The
that's a
police.
genuine question that I have.
The police. Duh. I didn't think I'd have to say the police. It is
The
illegal to
police
shoot
didn't
people.
stop him last time.
Okay.
His fucktards got into
So I
your
can't.
Parliament building.
This is the
They got
thing.
into
Like
the
when
debating
someone
chamber.
answers the question, you just disqualify it as an answer for the question. Like I don't know what else to do.
I'm not disqualifying the answer because it's not an answer. I just think it's not a good answer because you're saying it can't happen because of the police, but it happened before and there were police there.
How many? I mean, okay. You. It's fine. It's
and then
fine.
you talked about
We'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
what's her name? That woman thingy,
Nancy Pelosi.
and saying, oh well, it's all her
Lazy
fault.
Pelosi.
She messed up. She should have put armed people on the armed
She should have
coppers
protected
on
Congress from the fucking mob. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But she's not in charge anymore, and the person who is in charge is so far up Trump's arse he wears him as a hat.
And he may not be there for very long, actually.
Well, they changed the rules. They changed the rules. They need 9 Republicans now to say they want to get rid of him. It used to be 1.
They might get the 9. They might get it. He's horrible at whipping up votes. You know how he whips up votes? He takes them into a back room and puts Trump on speaker and says, "Dad, you're not listening to me."
Well, that feeds into my point of like, there's got to be a situation where Trump spits the dummy out the pram and says, "I want all the people who are against me dead," because he's a psychopath. Okay. He's a fucking psychopath, and that was what worries me. And I do find it a little bit. I don't know what the right word is, but it's a bit strange to me that I can ask a question like, what if this happens? And then I get this kind of like ridicule of like, oh my God, you think
it is not a regular question. It is not a regular question. It's not a regular question.
Well, January the 6th.
Your question.
Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
So
I'm the one going to the absurd.
So I'm saying if that happens again, this is okay. I'll give you an analogy, and it's not a perfect analogy, I know, but here's an analogy, right? Just imagine if after 9/11, we said to Al Qaeda, "You can have as many planes as you like, lads." And then I said to you, "Oh, what if they do a 9/11 again?" You say, "Oh, they won't do another 9/11." And I'd be like, well, what's stopping them?
Billy's got the right idea. Check the chat real quick. Billy's got the right idea. I'm not getting on a government list. You say things and then I can't respond in the way that is accurate. But I'm just saying, I mean, he can try that, but there's a lot of PTSD dudes out there who don't do tyrants, who don't do kings, who don't do coups. And they're not MAGA. So, I mean, I know what I know.
You have the money.
How'd that work out for him?
Well, yeah. Alec Barrett, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. How do you Trump proof a 25% tariff on bananas? Yeah.
Did you know all bananas are clones?
Yes.
That freaks me out a little bit.
The Cavendish banana, which was developed by the Reverend of Alton Towers for Lord Cavendish down in Derbyshire in the 1850s.
The one who did the Earth moving experiment, Cavendish.
I don't know. Don't know if that was the same guy.
Maybe it was his brother.
It was named after Lord Cavendish, and up till the 1960s, every banana was a clone of the Big Mike banana. Hey, Mike. Or the Gross Michael banana. But then they had a blight, wiped them all out, no genetic variation.
A plague.
And now we've all got the same bananas everywhere in the world. growing, and there's
It's
another new
literally the same
plague called the
banana.
Panama blight. And so our
Cool.
future bananas in about 10 years' time will probably all be genetically modified.
Speaking of blights,
Yes.
let's talk about fire. Fire is a blight,
Yes.
I would assume. Um, I've tried to do some independent research, and I found some tasty nugs. I even took notes.
Mm.
Um, Pop quiz: what percentage of the LA fires are being fought by incarcerated firefighters?
Oh god, there's something ridiculous. 30%, something like that.
40, 40,
40%.
40% of the
How
fires
much do
right
they
now are
get
being
paid?
fought
Is that the
by.
next question? How much do they get paid?
Would you like to wager a guess?
$5.60 a day.
Well, that's an hour. They get 580 an hour, so about 24 bucks a day. And
Jesus
a private
Christ.
company and its CEO is protecting like their businesses and their stuff at a cost of $7,000 per day.
Wow.
And then I also have written down here in 2017, the average salary for a firefighter in that area was 148K. So boy, are they just saving money left, right, and center. I
Wow.
wish they would have. I wish they would, use some of that saved money because they've been using the prisoners for about a decade now. I think they said.
Am
I
I
think the
right?
program.
Am I right in thinking that in most countries the incarceration rate is like 1 in 1,000, but in the States it's 1 in 100? Am I
Yeah,
talking out my ass there? Is
it's
that
like 1 in 100, 1 in 150, something like that.
fuck me?
They
Oh my
lock up everybody for
god.
everything.
But doesn't that
Remember,
cost
guys.
like a ridiculous amount of money? Like,
But
because not.
Graham, they make so much money off of it. It's a for-profit prison, baby. I
Oh,
can
because they
lease
get them
out
to
these
work.
slaves.
So
I
they
can lease
watched the
these
Shawshank
slaves out.
Redemption and they were like, boom, that's what we need to do. Great. Well done, Frank Darabont and bloody Stephen King, giving them ideas.
And
Don't
they
give them.
are and to motivate people to join this fire team program, they're offering them, hey, you could get a career after this. Hey, man, you could do a whole 180 here and be a firefighter. Only thing is, there's nothing in the law that stops a fire department from discriminating against them for having a criminal background. So they can say, yeah, you're trained, but
Yes.
still a thief.
However, as
You're
you
still
well
a thief.
know, the reason why these fires started in the first place and why they raged so uncontrollably wasn't because of climate change or because of the Santa Ana winds or because of the fact that there just isn't enough water in the whole state of California to put out all these fires because you need 1,000 gallons to put out one house and there's thousands of houses on fire. It's all DEI, mate. It's all DEI. I know that because Trump and Musk told me.
So I did some digging on the last thing you just said.
Yeah.
It's not even like they're not out of water. You can't have all the hydrants on at the same time. So
Yep.
if three lines are going and you're down the hill waiting for the water to trickle down the hill and get to you, guess what you're not getting?
Trickle down economics, mate.
You're not like you can't have pressure at 100% at all the hydrants, dog. Even if like they have like lakes of water, but how the hell are you gonna pump it to like? Can you imagine how much pressure? Like it's already under a ton of pressure. Can you
Yeah.
imagine how much pressure you'd have to add to it to keep that level of pressure on all the fire hydrants? Do not hit a fire hydrant with your car. Your car will be launched into low Earth orbit. You will be detonated on impact. Like we can't have that much pressure, so it's not that they're out of water. It's you
Yeah.
can't pressurize that large swath of an area simultaneously.
Did you also
can't.
see that there's only one fire, I think it's in the Palisades, that's actually in the LA area that the woman who's in charge of the fire service is in charge of. And the other fires, the other half dozen fires, are in places where there's a white man in charge.
What? What? Are you saying that they are specifically targeting the lesbian? No.
No, they're not.
No.
The fires are not doing that. But when
The
you or I
fires-
see a
the fires
tragedy,
are woke.
when you or I see a tragedy, our first instinct is compassion. Is like, oh shit, I hope they were like, oh my god, what about my friends there? I've got friends in LA. I've got friends. Trump's
Brenna.
first instinct is how can I get political capital out of this?
And the sane washing and the Trump splaining has already begun because pretty much everybody on the Fox News, CNN, anybody that they find that has any kind of right-leaning slant is like, well, those initial reports, that's what, they took it down and changed it a couple minutes later. So I was like, oh, so you didn't decide to wait and see what was real? You just told your assistant to pick up your iPhone and start mass tweeting out and mass
Yeah.
truthing some of this bullshit. Like, and same thing with your boy Ellen. Ellen's over there just running his mouth, and it really embarrassed himself in front of a bunch of firefighters. Just like, oh, so no water, right? No water. You guys are out of water.
I wish I had this clip to just show everyone.
USA.
Just having things explained to him, and he just goes, oh, okay. I mean, Elon Musk is something else. I mean, he's so unlikable. Like, he is just he's like he's got the worst aspects of like a nerd, but also a bully at the same time, a spoiled rich kid, narcissist. Like, he has so few positive personality traits, and he's so unlikable. And I saw this great video, and I want everyone to watch it. And it's a guy just calmly explaining that, the reason why these incels can't get a date, it might not be because all women are evil.
But it might be,
Graham, because their heroes are fucking weirdos.
They're literally
a bit of a red flag, a bit of a red flag for most of I don't know, half the population of the world.
Like, I don't do stand up, but I've had a bit for a long time that these incels are a direct response to there not being any more R&B on the radio.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know, like, they don't know how to, like, hey, baby girl, how you do? And then, like, get a boombox outside the window and sing.
That doesn't work anymore, mate. That only worked in the 80s.
Bullshit.
Hassle a girl until she goes out with you. That was the 80s tactic, wasn't it? Now,
I sang to my wife. I sang Backstreet Boys to my wife at a Sum 41 concert. They play the music in between, like, bands or whatever when they're changing the set. And I was like, come here, I need to sing this to somebody. He's like, don't wanna hear you say. And our kid's in the other room, and the ring's on her finger. Singing Backstreet Boys to girls works every time.
Yeah.
Every time. I can attest.
I can't sing for shit. But
it doesn't matter. You got to dance then.
But no, I did. I came up to Durham, met my old school friend Catherine. It's the first time we've both been single since we were 16. And I walked into her living room, and she'd split up with her partner, her husband, and she'd finally got her piano. Like that in that film, the piano. And I sat down, and I just started playing Bohemian Rhapsody on the piano. And she was like, I didn't know you could play the piano, because we used to go to school together, but we didn't talk about stuff like that. And she was so impressed that here I am 7 years later, still living in her house. There you go.
That's how you do it. Look,
that's how you do it. Learn to sing or play the piano.
That's the way, because no one else is doing it, bro. No one else is doing it. Everybody's too freaking cool. Just sing and be an idiot. They love it. They love that you're dumb. Yeah. They like having dumb little puppies to, like, reach tall things for them. It's an important job.
Just to go back to what we were talking about Trump using these disasters as an opportunity for him to do some politics or to make a deal. And this is what he's going to do when he's in power. He's going to every time there's a natural disaster, he's going to say, "Tell me what I want you to do something for me. I want you to do quid pro quo." That's going to be the motto of his next term. Is going to be quid pro quo. He will not.
That was
give
last
anything,
term.
do anything. Yeah, but like also there's this idea of the Madman strategy of, like, you don't know what he's going to do next, and this is why he's saying he's going to invade Greenland, he's going to invade Panama. So what does he want? What does he want out of Panama? Well, the Panamanian Canal is running out of water because of climate change, and therefore the fees for going through the Panama Canal have gone up. So he'll say, okay.
Real quick, can you tell people why it takes water to use a canal? Because it's not exactly intuitive.
Okay, so the Panama Canal is based on a series of locks going up into the mountains in the middle of Panama, and there's a lake in the middle of it called Lake Gatan, and then obviously goes down the other side. And essentially, every time a boat goes through, gigaliters of water, fresh water, go down, because obviously it goes downward. The new locks actually at Miraflores on the Pacific side, they recycle some of the water actually, so they're not as bad for losing water to the old one.
Why can't they just pump seawater in there?
Because it clogs up all the stuff. It's salty. Plus, it will kill. It will kill any fish. It will kill all the environment. Like, it would be an environmental disaster to pump. Because I was talking about this on my show the other day, and someone said in the chat that will be an environmental
just use
disaster.
salt water.
Yeah, because it's salt water. But the Panama is technically a rainforest. They have several meters of rain a year, like a ridiculous amount of rain. But the last few years they've had a drought because of climate change, and so Lake Gatun is lower than it should be, and so they've had to restrict how many boats can go through. The prices have gone up. Trump's going to say to them, give us a deal, make it cheaper for American ships to go through, and I won't invade.
So you think that this is really a Trump thing? Like, you don't see that this is an Elon thing?
Oh, it might be an Elon thing. I don't know. Whoever's thing it is, it's about making it cheaper for their boats to traverse the Panama Canal.
But that's the other part of Trump that was harder to discern last time, but way easier to discern this time, because he has like no actual like politicians with him now. You know what I mean? Like, he has no political allies. All of his allies are outside of politics. It's fucking people from fucking Fox News. It's billionaires. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have any Republicans on his side. So all of the things that he is doing is completely outside of the scope of the Republican Party and the American people. Yeah. He's doing things that his billionaire friends want him to do now.
Yeah.
Right. So if Elon's trying to get his rockets to China from Texas or Florida, be real nice if that canal would just, just kind of look the other way. And same thing with the tariffs. Yeah. Like, what is it? Like, I can guarantee you one company that's going to be exempt from all the tariffs. It rhymes with Esla.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what this is. Trump owes a favor to his new girlfriend.
Yeah.
And now he has to pay.
Well,
and that's what this is. This is the oligarchy.
The next topic, which is TikTok. This
is the oligarchy.
Where they've done exactly the same thing, where Zuckerberg has said, I want rid of the competition. They tried to, emulate TikTok, and they did it really badly through Instagram.
It sucks.
He's tried to emulate Twitter with Threads. Like, he's out of ideas. So basically, he has to destroy the competition. And I think there should be a healthy ecosystem of social media on the internet. But apparently that's not a thing. Before we go on, actually, I've just got to address a point made by Paul, who said, and yet your island in Panama was flooded, Graham. Yeah, it was flooded by salt water because the sea levels are going up. There's less rain and the sea levels are going up. The worst of all possible worlds.
All of that water from the Panama Canal, Graham is hoarding it on his island.
Yeah, I've got it all on my island.
To the point that it is going over the banks into the ocean, wasted.
True.
He's doing that.
I just have a huge paddling pool, mate. That's
it's an island, but then there's like an island-sized pool on top of the island. Yeah. And Graham likes to swim about. He doesn't care about the Panama Canal.
Yes. Anyway, sorry. We were going to talk about TikTok. TikTok. Your TikTok ban comes into place on Sunday. Sunday, I think it's 19th, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll see. I think the real reason that TikTok is being banned is APAC.
Okay.
The IDF, IOF, depending on your slant, they streamed their war crimes.
Yeah.
That made this election a lot more expensive, and then so expensive that they even lost it. So I think it is punitive. Because they've been talking about banning TikTok for a couple of years, but this whole watching cities being blown up, watching people going through like lingerie and stuff like that, putting it on and making little funny dances and all that shit, kind of makes it look like you're not really under attack. It kind of looks like you're occupying people and murdering them. So yeah, that made the American election really difficult, and we don't need Americans seeing that shit. So let's get rid of the way that they see that shit.
It might be one of the factors, but I think the big one's got to be the fact that Zuckerberg gave so much money to people in Congress on both sides to vote for this ban. Like, please vote for this ban. For what? What was the reason given? That they were stealing people's data and selling it to the Chinese government? Which
I do that.
That's been Zuckerberg's business plan for the last 18 fucking years. Steal your data,
that's
sell it to the Chinese. Yeah, they stole my idea. But like, What data of mine, what state secrets of mine are TikTok stealing off me? You know, they know what videos I like. They give me left-wing political videos. And cats. Because I like cats. Everyone likes cats.
But it's different because they're Chinese, Graham, and we don't like them. It's
Yeah.
bad. It's bad when they do it.
Well, it's bad when it's not Zuckerberg. It's not an American company.
Yeah, only
Let's
they
take
should
out
be
the
pilfering our
competition.
data.
Yeah.
And
But
I
it's
think, and then they're like,
what's
oh,
gonna
it could
happen
have some, and it could have some military consequence because they can know the location of all the people. Oh, unless everybody like, you know, charges their phone and
Yeah.
like walk away from it, then I guess they don't know where that person is. Or if they lose their phone, I guess they don't know where that person is.
Yeah.
Or if they're driving like 60 miles an hour and the GPS is really having a hard time tracking them. I mean, I guess that would make it hard to know their. I mean, who fucking like if China knows my exact location, I'm 2,500 miles inland.
Yeah.
Try it. I mean, like what? There is no. I don't see what this threat could be. I mean, I know you can't have it on like government issued phones and stuff like that because those servers are not held in this country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
TikTok is being replaced by Redbook, says Alec Barrett with the £2 super chat. Thank you very much. Chinese times two. It's another app, isn't it? But this is like the one that it's a TikTok that the Chinese use. Must they go to that one now? Because that hasn't been specifically banned. But what is particularly worrying is this bill lays the groundwork to ban any foreign-owned social media platform for any reason. Like, for any reason. Like, this
is what
for a country
Republicans
that
do.
prides itself on its freedoms. It's staggering seeing, you know, looking in from the outside and just going, that doesn't seem very free. Why can't they go to Cuba? Why can't they visit Namibia? Why can't they? Sorry, Mauritania. What?
I mean, it's free if I say it's free, but not if everyone says. Like, I don't care what everyone else thinks. It needs to be free according to my definition. So you have all the freedom, but don't march for countries that I don't appreciate. And you can do it. You can say whatever you want, but just don't ask people to call you the right pronouns. Like it's stupid. It's hypocritical. And worst of all, it's inefficient, right? It wastes a lot of time. So they're going to, I mean, let's say they get the ban, right? The ban goes in 2 weeks or whatever.
No, it's less than a week. It's Sunday.
I just said the 31st.
No, it's the 19th. It's the 19th.
Oh, 19th.
It's the day before the
Oh,
inauguration.
before the inauguration.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
even that
will
idea
be,
that Trump's going to save it. I mean,
I will be streaming that inauguration, but I'm gonna have some goggles on. I don't know what the hell is gonna happen. I'm gonna have to put it on I'm gonna have to put it on a tape delay. I don't know what the hell's gonna go on that bitch. I'm not losing my channel.
The thing with TikTok though, I mean, I think just sets a very scary precedent going forward that these very, very rich people like Zuckerberg can manipulate the democracy in such a flagrant way. Do you know Jeff Jackson, a North Carolina guy? He does a lot of TikToks, and he did one last year where he went, and he's very folksy. You know, he's very. My name is Earl. He's very Ted
He's
Lasso.
Southern,
right? He's like, oh, you know, I voted for this because I don't think it's ever going to happen, and I'm like, hey, you fucking idiot. I voted for it because I never thought it was going to happen. Cheers, Jeff.
That's the lot of them, right? Like we were talking about like the grammar and the nouns and pronouns shit with like in the 80s in the UK and shit like that. Like people are just not taught these things. We just didn't know that these people have been criminally misled about how their government works. He's all of the.
He's a senator. Well, he was a senator.
You don't have to really be that accomplished to be a senator. I mean,
yeah, I get that.
I mean, he didn't get in from like fucking passing a test. It was an election. So and this leads into the point anyway. These people are so misinformed about how their government works that they can fall for anything. They fall for the dumbest, easiest, stupidest tricks I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. So, I mean, that's where I come in, and I get to for the next 4 years, or until, I don't know, Fuhrer Trump kills everybody, according to Graham.
I
I'm
never
gonna.
said he was going to kill
You
anyone.
did. You
Stop
did.
putting
You
words in my
said he's
mouth. I
said
never
he's
said
gonna.
that. I never said he could fly. I never said he had
Graham
laser
said.
vision.
Graham
I
said
never
he's
said he
gonna
was
nuke
going to be
the
king of the.
whole
I
country. The
never
whole country is
mentioned
nuked.
nuclear bombs. I
Well,
mentioned something that happened and said what would happen if that happened again, and you just shouted at me and told me it would never happen, even though it's already happened.
because you were being tricksy and you were trying to
I
change a couple
wasn't
of
being
words here and
tricksy. I asked
there.
the same question a few different times.
But anyway.
Anyway.
Oh wait, I missed a note on California. Can we go back? Back to the fires.
Back to the fires. Yes.
So they promised them a career, and then like the majority of the people that I saw on screen, Hassan Piker actually went out there and went to the like fire camp and was like streaming and talking to him. So that's where I got some of this information.
Okay.
But there's no laws to protect them once they get out. And if you guys remember, not so long ago, they were in Texas and Arizona and California. They said there's all these illegals who are just, transporting these drug mules. They're just transporting all these drugs in backpacks across the desert and then over the mountain and through the woods and past grandma's house and all that. But now they're putting out your fires, right? But that's okay. So it's okay for them to backpack and hike in the woods to work for $5 a day, but it's not okay. And then it's funny, the numbers came out, and all of those drugs, all the fun stuff, came in through like soccer moms.
Yeah.
We're just going to Cabo. Whole trunk is laced with drugs. The whole minivan is just drugs as far as the eye can see, just filled. The children aren't even real children. They're just drugs that talk. Like it's just all the drugs in the world, but they let the white girls in and it was fine.
Yes. Yeah.
Like the fentanyl, which is always, I just thought that was a fun little thing that the soccer moms were bringing in all the drugs. Meanwhile, they're going after the people who have like a bottle of water on their back and saying, "Ha, water drugs." Like,
yeah. I mean,
yes, and I'm glad that you brought up that only the what's it called? The fire, the big one where she's at.
The Palisades.
Palisades. So the Palisades is the only one that's like actually in LA County, and that's the only one that she was supposed to be responsible for.
Yeah.
But she's been organizing all this shit. And also, shout out, I can't do my air horn because I'm not the guy right now. But shout out to Canada and Mexico for sending equipment, for sending bodies, for sending everything that we needed to help take care of our fire situation. Didn't really see anything from Elon Musk. He didn't send us any money. He didn't send us anything. Yeah. He didn't fucking send a rocket filled with fucking fire extinguishers that blew up and landed itself, and then all the fire extinguishers landed on the fire and put itself. He didn't do none of that. He was busy, I guess. But thanks, Mexico. Thanks, Canada. Appreciate y'all.
There's a couple of things that I want to say about this. Like the whole thing about her being a DEI hire pisses me off. I've forgotten who it was being interviewed, but it was a woman. She was talking about in the 90s, she was going to get on a plane and she saw that the pilot was a woman and she thought, oh, might not fly the plane as well as a man, being a woman. And then actually she thought about it and thought, hang on, because 99% of the pilots are male, to be a female pilot, she must be the best of the best. Like she would have to be really, really good to get that far in a man's world. And it's why this idea that, we can't have any positive discrimination because it's not fair to the middle-aged, middle-class, incompetent white people. And
why can't they just grab some? Why can't those prisoners be fire chief?
Yeah, but in this, if you flip the whole DEI hire on its head, Trump is a DEI hire because he's rich, and so someone put in a word for him. And he got into places that you and I couldn't get into because of daddy's money, because of daddy's cash. And we see this all the time. Zuckerberg wouldn't have been able to found Facebook if he wasn't in, where was he? Harvard? How much did it cost to go to Harvard, Mikey? What's that, like $50,000 a year? Something fucking ridiculous?
50?
I don't know.
It's way worse. It's way worse than that.
Oh, go on. You find
Harvard.
But it's like, okay, well, we're going to do away with any kind of understanding of who's going for these jobs, right? We're going to have blind CVs, and you're not going to know where they got the degree, where they went to school, where they grew up, how old they are, what colour they are, sexuality. You don't know any of it. Level playing field. Fine. But it has to be a level playing field for everyone, including the fucking Nepo babies like Elon Musk, who wouldn't have had the money to buy PayPal if his dad hadn't owned a racist emerald mine in South Africa. Actually, I think it was in Botswana.
Hey, thank you, Google. I'm about to move to Harvard because this is some of the worst numbers. They're very low. You can get housing there for less than $1,000 a month, which is impossible. But they say the tuition is only 58 grand.
I wasn't far out.
You were closer. You were closer than I thought. But then again, I have to remember they're not letting anybody in there anyway. You know what I mean? Those people don't need. They don't need the 50 grand per student to keep the doors open. Yeah. They get their money other ways. That's just to keep the riffraff out, you know. Yeah.
Well, and also the just going on from what we're saying about the DEI hire.
I lied. I scrolled down. Attending Harvard costs tuition, which jumps to $82,866 with housing and other expenses. Okay. So that was just the sticker price.
Jesus, that's a big one.
But an undergrad, you can get an undergraduate for $177,000.
Cheap. Cheap at twice the price.
And then the thing is, you're going to have to go to a company where they're going to offer you $15 an hour and say, hey, once you start, proving yourself, then we'll actually get you on salary.
But yeah, I mean, going back to the point about the Nepo babies, again, like they say, no one gave me anything because they've never taken benefits. They've never signed on for the dole or anything like that. And it's like, yeah, but you were given money by your parents. So I'll tell you what, let's have a new law where where your parents aren't allowed to give you any money. The state pays for your education. That's it. And, your parents can give you food if you're lucky, and maybe some clothes. And then once you're 18, your parents legally cannot give you any more money. And when they die, all their money goes to the state. There you go. Level playing field. Let's see the billionaires pull themselves up by the bootstraps.
I'm all for like maybe 5 million? 100% tax after 5 million.
Yeah, that's it.
You don't need any more money.
Spend it on something. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Put it into the economy. Don't hoard it like smog.
Yeah, don't just stick it in an account somewhere and let the interest do all the work for you.
Exactly.
And when you're forced to spend the money, there's only so many properties that you can buy and maintain. And then guess what? You're going to have to start selling some of those properties because you don't have the time to manage that many properties.
A use it or lose it law would be fantastic, Mikey. Use it or lose it.
Absolutely.
If you let your property fall into rack and ruin, a year later it goes back to the council. It goes back to the government. It goes back to the historical landowner. I don't know. It just,
I don't think any businesses should be allowed to buy like homes. Like businesses should not buy single family homes.
So our friend Maximilian Robespierre, who runs a really good channel over here on YouTube, he did a bit of digging, and here's a figure for you, right? How much do you reckon the British taxpayer pays every year to private landlords to help them pay off the mortgage they have on their second, maybe third, maybe fourth homes?
£1,200.
70 billion pounds a year. Taxpayers' money goes into the pockets of a landlord.
I thought you meant per taxpayer. I was like,
probably
70 billion per. How much are these super chats worth?
Billion pounds. Labour are freaking out because of the 22 billion pound black hole. We're looking at how much our exit from the EU is costing us. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's not 70 billion pound a year of our tax money being given. Because what it is, it's people staying in private houses. They don't earn enough money to pay the rent, and so they get subsidised by the government. That money goes from the government, from taxpayers, to private landlords who already have a fucking house. This is for their second house, their third house, their fourth house.
That's the scam.
That is one hell of a scam.
So now that the problem has been identified, how do you get rid of it?
You make it so you can't get a mortgage on a second property. That was the rule until 1996. You couldn't buy to let If you got a mortgage, it was for the house that you damn well lived in. We need to go back to that. Anyway.
So, we've got
to wrap up. We've got to wrap up. Darren, thank you so much. £20 super chat. God, it was worth rambling on, wasn't it? Thank you very much. Enjoyed the debate, guys. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you, Darren. You keep up the good work as well, mate. Ban private houses as well. More councils. Yeah. Well, no, I think councils should be allowed to build social housing and housing for sale and put them all in the same area. So you don't just have an area where everyone is poor. And an area where everyone is rich. You have a mixed society and help people out.
I'll drop this little nugget for you guys because like I rent my townhouse and they have increased our rent $500 in 3 years.
Wow.
So I go,
Is that
on Zillow.
A month?
Yeah, $500 per month.
Per month. Fucking hell.
Because we got in here at $1,500 and now we're at $2,000.
Jesus Christ.
So I do some digging and I'm like, okay, this is the name of the company. Okay, who owns this company? Oh, okay. This is the name of it. Okay, so I looked that up.
Yeah.
Okay, who's the CEO? Okay. She's like 40, blonde, and in charge of these billions of dollars of accounts or whatever. And I'm like, okay. I do a little bit more digging into the company. They got $600 million loan from Citibank.
Oh,
and they're out of Georgia, so they got a $600 million loan from Citibank in Georgia, and they took, and this is during COVID, mind you. This is when everybody is struggling, mind you. Well, they got that huge loan.
Yeah,
right. They got that huge loan, and then they bought all of the properties in my area.
Wow,
all of them, cash.
Wow.
So if you were me and you were here for a year. And then you're like, okay, I think we got a little nest egg here. Let's go ahead and buy a place. Oh, they're all, wow, that's crazy. They took the price, let's say the house was $250,000. Instead of charging people $250,000, they took $2,000 rent a month times 30 years. Boom, that's the new price of the house. So they're just trying to get they're trying to get 30 years of rent in one go.
Wow.
That's the scam now, is that they have bought all the houses so that when you try to purchase a house, it is not cheaper anymore to get a mortgage rather than rent. It is the same price.
Yeah.
And the interest rates are 7% right now. And then when I was in high school, living in the house in high school, it was 2.8% interest.
Well, until recently in the UK, it was like pretty much 0.25%. The interest rate was ridiculously low.
Yeah,
we're talking about possibly going into a state of positive debt. Where you actually you get given money for being in debt. We've got to wrap up there, mate, because I need to put the kids to bed.
So that's an extra $30,000 on your single family home. They just added an extra $30,000 because it's just great. It's just great.
They need more money, mate, so they can protect it like Smile the Dragon. But they're not going to be able to protect it when the mob turn on them.
It's going to be hard to be a dragon when everybody's wearing dragon scale armor and holding axes.
These billionaires have got their phone linked to their bank account, and it's not like they have to shovel actual gold coins. When the people come and say we want your money, it's going to be a case of no, we only need your thumb, mate. That's all we need. Anyway, moving on. We better leave it at that. Good thing their phones don't have
their locations on them.
George, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. We don't owe the rich shit; they owe us. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
They're gonna pay, or they're gonna be on the dinner plate. That is the ultimatum from the poor. You are going to share, or you're going to be shared. Your decision.
So, Mikey, thanks so much for the lively discussion this evening. And thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Give us a like on the way out if you are so inclined. You can give
and follow the Bin Podcast Network.
Yes, follow the Bin Podcast. If you click on the link in the description, or actually in the title of the video, you'll be able to go to the Bin.
I saw that. I appreciate you.
The Bin Network. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, you can add us.
I can add you. Check it out. It's really good, and a lot of interesting stuff goes down on the Bin Podcast. I've been on the Bin Podcast a few times, haven't I
think you're a 4-timer.
Need to come back, mate.
I think you're a 4-timer.
But before we go, I've got this great quote from a guy called Mark Elias, and I love this. I realize that I am more powerful than Elon Musk. I am more powerful than Mark Zuckerberg. I am more powerful than Jeff Bezos, because I can say right now, fuck you, Donald Trump. Fuck you. And they can't afford to say that.
I love Mark Elias.
Until next time. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.
Toodles.